很多人都从这一次 Nancy Pelosi 来访问台湾的时候，顺便提到了中国的军力已经不是1995、1996，但是他们以为这就代表说美国现在完全在军事力量里头落后中国，中国赢上了美国吗？答案并不是如此。根据《华尔街日报》所做出来一个比较，如果以航空母舰来做竞赛的时候，美国仍然遥遥领先。
这是美国现有11艘航空母舰中被誉为史上最强最新的一艘福特号航空母舰。
So what should our adversaries know about the Gerald R. Ford? One of the many missions of the ship is deterrence. So when the adversaries have an aircraft carrier like this patrol their waters, they know that the United States is serious.
而这是中国第3艘，也是最先进的一艘航空母舰，命名为福建舰。有别于前2艘中国航母，福建舰完全由中国自主研发和建造。
These vessels represent the race for both countries to create the most advanced maritime force and reveal how China's technology is catching up to the U.S.
Once Fujian is commissioned, numbers will be our only advantage over their carrier force.
中国航母战舰实力兴起，也左右着第一岛链的情势。第一岛链一直从日本向南，经过台湾和菲律宾到达印尼，与台海安危息息相关。
Unlike the U.S., which designs its carriers to be deployed all over the globe, China built its first 2 carriers to stay within the first island chain, defense analysts say. It's this area of the Pacific Ocean, relatively close to China's coast. But the Fujian could signal a shift in China's strategy, and military analysts predict it could be used beyond the second island chain, which is located further out in the Pacific Ocean and stretches to Guam, where the U.S. has a major military base. That's because this vessel has greater capabilities than its predecessors.
它的活动的范围就会扩张它就要出第一岛链，所以经常在台湾海峡的周边的海域，还有钓鱼台附近的海域，还有日本周边的水域都有在做活动。那它的活动范围会随着它的架数艘数增加而范围扩大。它都要出第一岛链，它不可能在内水。
华尔街日报特别比较了美中2艘最新航母的战力，看看这2个超级大国的军备竞赛。
So just how powerful is China's new vessel? To answer that question, let's start with its size and its weight. At over 900 feet, the Chinese vessel measures at around 98 feet shorter than the Ford. It weighs around 80,000 tons, making it lighter than the Ford at 100,000 tons. There's also a difference in crew size. Military analysts say the Fujian will likely need a crew of around 4,000. On the other hand, the Ford has 5,500 crew members.
The larger the hull, the volume inside grows geometrically with the size of the ship, and that allows it to carry more aviation fuel, more ordnance.
But to determine how advanced a carrier is, there are a few other things that make a big difference. But possibly the most important is the launch system. The faster that process works, the quicker the carrier can launch strikes. And China appears to be making significant progress on this. In the past, US and Chinese carriers have used different systems to launch planes. Fujian's predecessors used short, tilted flight decks, also known as ski jumps. But that system has some disadvantages, including a weight limit on the aircraft it can launch. Older US aircraft carriers use steam catapults. In that process, cylinders are filled with high-pressure steam from the ship's reactors. That creates a force to launch the pistons at high speed. But steam has its challenges. It can reduce the life of the airframe and take up more space on ships. The US moved away from that 60-year-old system on the Ford, instead installing a breakthrough technology called an electromagnetic aircraft launch system, or EMALS. A few years later than the US, the same advanced launcher appears to be installed on the Fujian, according to military analysts who've reviewed footage and images of the vessel. The EMAL system accelerates aircraft using a catapult that operates using magnets and motors. The advantage of that process is it smoothly pushes along the plane, putting less stress on their airframes.
It uses an electromagnetic pulse to move the catapult down the launch ramp. Ford has 4 of those. The Fujian has 3, which means the Ford will have a power advantage. It'll be able to launch more planes in less time.
As China appears to be moving to the same launching system as the U.S., Schuster says its sensors are also similar.
The Fujian, we believe, based on the design of the island and what we've seen so far, she is going to have electronically scanned radars not radically different from the Ford. And they're approaching us in that capability if they haven't caught up.
华尔街日报分析说，尽管这两艘超级航母有一些相似之处，但仍有关键区别。
Defense analysts believe China's carrier is likely to have a diesel or gas turbine engine. In contrast, the Ford carrier is nuclear powered, and that means it can travel for some 20 years without needing to refuel. But a conventionally powered carrier may need to top up every 4 to 6 days. That's an issue for China, which has uncertain access to friendly ports across Asia where it can restock. Whereas the U.S., which still requires access to locations where it can refuel its surface combatants, has longer-running military partnerships with allies in the region.
英国 BBC 报道指出，尽管目前还不清楚全面测试配备福建舰需要多长时间，也尚不清楚它何时能正式服役，但福建舰即将加入的是一支从2014年就已经超过美国目前世界上最大的海军。许多西方观察人士认为，全球军事力量平衡正在发生巨大的变化。
The Fujian has sea and mooring tests to complete before it can begin military service, according to the Chinese Navy. When it does begin to operate, defense experts note that its name could be a key indicator of where it may be deployed.
Naming naval warships is a political statement, if you will, or a political issue.
Fujian is a region in the southeast of China that's the closest province to Taiwan. China sees the self-ruling island as part of its own territory and has vowed to take control of it if necessary by force. The Ford, which is named after a president like some other U.S. carriers, may also end up deploying to the South China Sea in the future. According to military analysts, that means America's and China's most advanced vessels could find themselves on the front lines of their country's push for military influence.
10年末间，我们整装待命，时刻准备着。报告编制，任务已完成。
清华大学前解放军大校周波曾说，中国面临的最突出问题是能够感知到的美国在中国海域的挑衅行为。美国海军预测，2020年到2040年间，中国海军舰只总数将增加近40%。尽管目前美国在海军能力方面仍保持着强大的领先地位，